Forum, the Boston Celtics take on the Los Angeles Lakers.
Next from CBS Sports, the Great American Race, the Daytona 500.
Put yourself in Kenny Schrader's shoes. For 3 years, he's had the fastest car. He's sitting on the pole. Everyone expects him to win the Daytona 500. And then, disaster strikes. Put yourself in Dale Earnhardt's seat. He's won just about every race there is to be run. But he's never won the Daytona 500. And people keep asking why. How would you like to be Rusty Wallace, the defending national champion, buried in the back of the pack and considered by experts as nothing more than a long shot today? The smiles, the confidence. At Daytona, every driver has them. But in the grandstands and the garages, there's also a note of wariness, a discernible tenseness, because Richard Petty is back. Daytona has been more than tough the past few years for King Richard, but the word is he's coming back. Watch out for Petty. He's got a good car and a good chance, and that's all Richard Petty ever needed. Is racing's cathedral of speed, the Daytona International Speedway, drying out after an all-night rain, muggy weather, but fast times are expected. 150,000 of these people will crowd into this superstructure today, and they're the lucky ones, for the last reserved seat went last July. Hi, as I make my way through this crowd, it's time to say I'm Chris Economaki, getting my annual thrill after a cold, snowy, and raceless winter. Hungering for the first sound of a racing stock car. You know, the Daytona 500 is much more than a race. It's the Super Bowl of stock car racing, a place where champions convene and stars are born. A checkered flag at the Daytona 500 is like the green jacket at Augusta, a heavyweight title belt, or a Super Bowl ring. And when that checkered flag finally comes, you're sitting on top of the world. For 17 years, Darrell Waltrip tried for that flag, and last year he finally got it. What did it mean to him? Here he is with Mike Joy.
Thank you, Chris, and hello, everyone. 1 year ago, it was a tearful, joyful victory lane. You were crying, Stevie was crying, I was crying. Once it finally sunk in, Darrell, what did it mean to finally win the Great American Race?
You know, I couldn't believe it. These boys asked me this morning, I said, you know, it's an easy race to win. and they all did about the same thing you did. It was just it was a great thrill to win here at Daytona. I know it must be like winning the Super Bowl or the World Series. It's got to be that same kind of thrill, or even the Indy 500. So many people here, so much excitement, and of course all the people that are watching at home, they're all right in there with you. And I made a big fool out of myself, but let me tell you, if I get in there again this year, hang on to your hat, because we're going to do a little dancing.
We'll talk about that. Only in 73-74, Richard Petty, and 83-84, Cale Yarborough. Has anybody won this race back-to-back? What'll it take today?
Well, the King and I back here, we got a little plan for him. I'm gonna watch him real close. He got a real good car this year, and he's won this race back-to-back, and he's won it 7 times. I'm going to go to school on the King today.
Well, then let's meet the man who Darrell Waltrip says is the other favorite to win this race. He's won it 7 times, and he's with Dave Despain.
Let's take a little stroll over here with the king of stock car racing. Today at age 52, 5.5 years past his last big win, Richard Petty is a genuine contender to win his 8th Daytona 500. Now, you're the only guy who knows how it feels to start 30 of these. I want to know how it feels to be a front runner again.
Well, you know, it always feels good to run up front. You know, it's been 3 or 4 years since we've really had a chance to run up front, and the car's running good right now. It really feels good, I tell you. This is what it's all about, just running up front and doing your job.
A lot of things are different with this team. New engine combination, new team organization, new team owner of this blue 43, Linda Petty. I want to know, as car owner for the first time, are you going to take the credit if he wins today?
Well, I don't know. If he does good, I'll just say it might have something to do with it.
What if he doesn't do good?
Well, I was kidding him. I told him if he didn't do good, I was going to sell it tomorrow.
As she has for 29 years, she's going to take her spot over in the family car, listen on the radio, mind the grandkids, while her husband goes about the work that has made him a legend in American motorsports. Let's go topside and meet the man who will call the action today, Ken Squire. Ken?
Well, thank you, David. 9 minutes and counting to the start of the 500. $2,198,000 at stake. It is the richest race of the season. But it's not the money. It is Daytona. As Jeff Bodine has said, this race has its own place, its own meaning. Its own meaning to these drivers who are about to risk everything. Its own meaning to the manufacturers who hope to see their car in victory lane. Its own meaning to these teams, these dedicated mechanics who have spent the past 10 days tweaking and massaging and adjusting these 3,500-pound brutes to make them as fleet and as durable and as comfortable as possible for 500 miles. Things start early here at Daytona. As Chris pointed out, 94,000 seats were sold out for this event last July. They have been testing these cars for this race since the beginning of the year. At 6 o'clock this morning, the mechanics in anxious preparation were down here in the garage areas, and at sunrise over this battlefield, our colleague Ned Jarrett found the man the press has chosen to be champion of the 500, the driver they call the man in black, Dale Earnhardt.